Guys, I meant to go live yesterday, but I was a little bit caught up with some things. I was actually on another live stream yesterday. That's why I didn't get a chance to go live. First and foremost, just give me a minute. Yeah, so I didn't get a chance to go live yesterday. I meant to, I wanted to, but I wasn't able to. So yeah, the purpose of this title was because I was reading a book, and it just highlighted the Quran verse, and this is done by the Sheikh Al Magili, or this book is about this is a book by a famous scholar, uh, but it's translated. Uh, it was by a guy who was by the name of Sheikh Al Magili. And just to give a couple of background on Al Magili, Rahmatullah alayh, Al Magili, Rahmatullah alayh, he came from what we know now as Algeria. He came from Tlemcen. And what happened was, like, he was a scholar. He studied. He learned all the sciences, and he went to the south of Algeria, and he was kind of like not happy at the fact that in the south of Algeria, there was a Jewish population there, and they were basically exploiting the native people, like to a point where the native people were like, I guess you can say, second class. It got to a point where like the Jews were controlling everything. And so he didn't like that. He was like, yo, these people are in our lands. We're not in their land. So why are you treating them as such? And, of course, that led to disagreements. And what happened is he left Algeria and he established himself in what we know now as Mali and Nigeria as a teacher. He taught the sciences. Now, what I'm not sure of is if he went to Senegal as well. I don't know if he went to Senegal, if he got that far west to Senegal, but I know that he went to Mali, and he went to Nigeria, and he was welcomed in open arms in that time. So that's just another example of the historical cohesion we have with the North Africa, especially that part of North Africa, especially like Algeria, you know. And so I just want to read an excerpt of his book, and then I want to read an excerpt of an excerpt, like try to get the tafsir for that verse, the verse that you know was revealed. You know what I mean? So basically, let me see what he said. Let me find the page. All right, so we know the verse in the Quran where it says, it's translated, or the meaning of the interpretation is that like vile women are for vile men, and vile men are for vile women. Good women are for good men. Good men are for good women. Every time a person is more drawn to his own, he said, every type of person is drawn to its own type, than are all animals. Thus, believers are friends, uh, one to another, and who so among you befriends them, then he is one of them. So basically, what that can translate to too is that like you are who you hang out with, you are who you associate yourself with. So if you associate yourself with one of these cornballs, like these dating coaches, then guess what you are? You know what I mean? I hate to say it, but like we even had a more recent incident with what's her name? Yeah, I don't want to mention her name, but yeah, yeah, that's it. That's it. That's it. Um, you know, I hate to say her name, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Just basically, um, you know, Danica Marie, she recently hung out with with uh the whole Six the Goddess character. And they were just trashing, the most recent infiltrator in the Black Manosphere. They were just taking turns trashing. So, when I look at this, it's like, okay, well, Danica Marie has, I guess you can say has had, good intentions. I guess you can say that. But the fact that she, would associate with such a person who, is very much a misandrist and very much a, like just a hater of men, and definitely a hater of African men, you know, uh, which I take offense to because, I'm African. But, you know, in trying to be funny at the same time, it's not cool. So, I'm gonna be honest. Yes, there were times where maybe I would like tune in a little bit to see what she's talking about, but now I have since unsubscribed from her channel because of you are who you hang out with, or you are who you associate with. And so Al McGilly, um Al McGilly, and the thing is about Al McGilly, if he were like, if he Rahmatullah Allah was in, let's just say, Palestine right now, then there would be big problems for the which one call it, the Jew boys. There would be huge problems because I got to keep it PG, but he went hard on them, and he did not drag his feet, and he criticized those who were soft on him too. And so when I look at this situation, when I look at the situation we're in, it's sad to say it, but we have to be hard on the modern women. And I'm not saying that in the sense of like insulting them. I'm not saying that in the sense of violence. I'm saying that in the sense of cutting them off from everything that you possess. That means your intellectual property. That means your attention property. That means your financial property. Like these are important things that you have to be militant in, not giving them. And so, like Al McGilly, Rahmatullah Alayh, he says, if a man draws nigh the good ones of his people and shuns the evil one, then he is virtuous. If a man draws nigh the worst of his people and shuns the good one, then he is vicious. Every man's comrade informs you about him. That is a clear matter among humankind. So when you look at, like, for example, when you look at, just um how modern women, for example, like maybe it's not that often, but maybe you have a woman who is advocating for men. You may have a woman who's trying to fix the problems that are between gender relations here in America. There are not women behind them rallying to help. More so than anything else, there are women that are shaming them. The pick me, the pick me comment, the mammy comments, the pick Misha comments. like these kind of comments, right? There's not a large cadre of women that will rally behind maybe someone who is has common sense, has logic, and things like that. You don't find that. But what do you find? You find women rallying behind the likes of, and again, I don't want to say names, but I have to say names. But you have women rallying behind characters like Tonya TKO, characters like Sandra Monet or whatever her name is. I don't even know how to pronounce it. And Cynthia G, women who have track records of like just not good things, but still they have a following. I think there's another one called Glam Melanin as well. So when they have this following, yeah, yeah, all of those that you name, some of them I haven't even heard of. That's the thing. So when you're dealing with these dynamics, what are you left to do but be militant, you know, but not even give them a chance, right? So one thing that I want to highlight, this is one thing I want to highlight because what I notice about the modern woman is that they won't even like you can be the most logical human being, okay? You can be the most logical human being, but will they still will like basically think of you as like they'll think of you they'll find something where it's like where you're right and statistics show you're right, but then they'll still find something to say that, oh, this is wrong, you know uh that's what happened, you know this is what happens. Like it happens like that. Like it happens that you can have the most valid points, but they're still not going to have the valid points as I will show you on on these YouTube streets, you know. Um and so yeah. And so one thing I want to get at is that like for example, um like from a religious perspective, but like let's take religion out of it. Let's just take like from a moral perspective, you shouldn't want to imitate a dating coach. You shouldn't want to imitate these so-called alpha males, because anything that you have to call yourself, like any title that you have to call yourself, like in like an artificial title, then like what can we say, you know? Because like what the way I look at an alpha male, like I don't look at these dudes who are claiming alpha male as an archetype of an alpha male. Like I would say, like an archetype of an alpha male would be someone like Hazrat Umar Al Khattab, Rahmatu Allah alayh, the Prophet himself, alayhi salatu salam. The guy that I'm talking about right now, Al McGilly. Because the thing is, what you'll find with a lot of alpha males or so-called alpha males, they don't really have book smarts, because everything is handed to them in terms of women. They only have one brain, and that brain exists in between their legs, you know. And so that's that goes to the title vile women or for vile men. So that's why you see these women all damaged and stuff, like because the guys that they're with, like yo, like look at the guys who they're with. It's just that you give off you get in trade. like those guys are probably the apex in the looks department, but they don't have anything else. But again, when you look at what women are looking for, that does not concern them. It doesn't concern them. So, you know, um, let me see. So one thing is too, and this is just for people in general, as a general rule, like, it shouldn't like please you as a man. And I know women don't tune into the channel like that. It's not really geared towards women. But it shouldn't please men or women to draw close to someone uh uh like drawing close to your enemies. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Many women don't realize that they're enemies of each other. If for example, I'll take a hypothetical example. Let's say you have five women. You have five women. One of the women says, I want to be married one day. I want to do this. I want to have a family. I want to be like a traditional woman. And the rest of the women are going to say, like, oh, you're tripping, girl. Like, oh, pick me, this, that, and the other. We're living it up, right? We're living it up right now. We didn't fight this much for us to go backward. So you better cut that out. So, there may be, for example, a guy who's willing to be like, okay, bet. I'm that guy that's going to be traditional with you, you know? Uh Unfortunately, what will happen is because of the influence of her friends or her so-called friends who are really her enemies, she'll forego that guy and then just go ahead and do what her friends are doing, and she will suffer the same thing as her friends suffer, right? So and these things that I'm reading are just practical things. They're like, it doesn't even have, like, you don't even have to put it into religious concept. This is just like in general, like, this is just basic logic. You know what I mean? um Let me see. So let me see. Hold on. Yeah, I think that's it. That's all I wanted to read, really. There's nothing else that jumps out at me right now. Because this is kind of like an academia book, but at the same time, it's like a treatise, basically. So, yeah. Let me see. Okay, yeah, this is it. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's it. So now though, I want to like go over that verse, the tafsir about that, and we're gonna see how this plays out. Just share my screen. And we're gonna get into some things. Basically, we're gonna get into some things. All right, let me see. Okay, let me see. So basically, the original verse is Audu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Just go ahead and read it basically. So the verse goes like al kabithatu al kabithatu li kabithat thena wa kabir thuna li kabithati wa taibatu li taibina wa tayubuna li tayibati ulaika mubarak wa na mima yakulun lahum maghfiratu wa rizqu karim. And what that means is that women impure are for men impure, and men impure are for women impure, and women of purity are for men of purity, and men of purity are for women of purity. These are not affected by what people say. For them is forgiveness and a provision that's honorable. Um, all the people I know that are in traditional marriages, be it that they are overseas and stuff like that, most of them are content and most of them are financially pretty much set. But what I do notice is that these women who go for, the Pookie and Ray Rays and stuff like that, and talk about those same women who are playing their role and playing their part are the ones financially struggling and have to like sometimes more often than not take care of themselves using the child support. So the context of this verse basically is that pure and impure in this verse do not mean pure and impure in their general meaning. Even more so, purity does not imply virginity, looking at the subject and context. The impurity spoken of here refers to adultery in the verse because it was revealed in connection with accusation of adultery. Furthermore, pure in the verse is purity and goodwill of one's character. Um, Allah Azza wa Jal would not have made Hazrat Aisha radiallahu an, the wife of the messenger, alayhi salatu salam, unless she had been good, because he, alayhi salatu salam, is the best of mankind. Had she been evil, she would not have been a suitable partner, either according to his laws or his decree. Now, the problem, however, and this is the problem that a lot of men face, is that women appear pure, but 9 times out of 10, these women have a track record that goes from here to the Great Wall of China. And it's masked in, I'm reformed. It's masked in, so we can't even tell if they're pure, or some guys can't tell if they're pure. You know, I hate to say it, but a single mom's not really going to be pure, especially if she had the babies out of wedlock. Like that's the thing. If she's had the babies out of wedlock, chances are she's not going to be pure, you know. And then chances are, if she initiated the divorce without any viable reason, I'm talking about like really like serious reasons like domestic violence or something like that, then chances are she's not going to be pure either. You know what I mean? So I'm going to share my screen. I've been talking for about 25 minutes now, and we're just going to go over some things and see, like, okay, are there any pure women in the West? Like, are there any really good character women in the West to choose from? You know, like we have to really ask ourselves that question. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I think that many people would probably be married in drones if there was purity to choose from. You know, the thing is, especially the fact that now, what's happening is like a lot of women are trying to initiate marriage because they know that it's time for them to lock down like their retirement plan from riding the rooster carousel so much. That's the thing. But because they can't lock it down anymore, this is how it's becoming a problem. It's becoming a problem for them. And now the shaming, like shaming good men too. Like that's the thing, shaming good men, shaming men who have good intentions. Now that has become the norm, you know. So without further ado, let's get into some clips that I saw. And the first clip, the thing is about Russell Wilson, he probably is a good guy. He probably is a good guy, but I think it was just that he was desperate. I guess he was desperate for, companionship, man. And didn't really want to just like knock down chicks that he can knock down as a football player. Well, marriage in the West now, for women is just a retirement plan. It's a 5-year retirement plan. Stay with them for 5 years, drown him out in 5 years with stand for him for 5 years, and then yeah, that's it. That's how it works. But let me go ahead and share the screen, you know. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So, this was brought to my attention. Shout outs to Chus Lazette. Shout outs to him. He be having a balanced approach to this. Uh, and he be doing his thing. Shout outs to him. So I want to go into a video that basically he uh recovered. And yeah, let's go ahead and see. Here we go.
So excited to announce that local
telling other women. Joyce RP2, welcome to the Coffee Pod. My name is Chus Zed.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Sierra and Russell Wilson believe you can be married and still be independent. Yes, you heard me right. They both believe you can be married and still be independent. The question is, do you agree? No more wasting time.
No, I don't agree because like the thing is that like for me, there's certain tangibles that we give to women that they can't get anywhere else. Like I hate to say it, but who's going to change the smoke detector battery? Who's going to see fit to move furniture around? Who's going to see fit to reach the shelf and get something? Who's going to see fit to like do the lawn, mow the lawn? Who's going to see fit to trim the bushes? You know, who's going to see fit to if you're having a pool, who's going to see fit to clean keeping the pool clean? Who's going to do all of these things? It's certainly not going to be the woman. So no, I don't follow that. I don't believe in that in that logic at all.
Time. Let's get it.
Wait, what you just say?
What you said? You said you don't need no man?
I said, smart girls get money. Smart girls don't need no man.
You don't need me. You don't need.
Okay, so like the thing is that he is letting this woman emasculate him right before his very eyes. Now, I would like to give him a benefit of the doubt and maybe think that he's manning up and saying, "You don't need me." Translate, I'm walking out. But the way he said it is making me know that he's not meaning it in that way. He should have said, "I don't need you." That's the thing. If he said if he said I don't need you and you're replaceable, then I would have been like, okay, now we're talking. But he said you don't need me. So this is when I'm like, okay, yeah, this guy is too far gone. That's yeah, so let's continue though.
You just be just all right without me.
You'll just be all right without me. And here's a man who's a quarterback. And in football, on the gridiron, a quarterback is a leader, bro. Like, you have to know, a quarterback is a cerebral position. Because if you throw, for example, an interception, chances are teammates are going to look at you. They're going to, and that affects you psychologically. That quarterback, you have to have like crazy vision, and you have to be fast, and you have to think fast as well. Like, honestly, the speed of football, like on the professional level, the speed on football on the professional level is pretty crazy. So this is what we're facing. He's no longer a leader. Like, if it were my marriage, I would be yelling out quarterback plays. Like, I would be like, 10 hut, couscous in the kitchen, hut. Freaking, like, my favorite dishes. I'm on the field right now. Blue 24, couscous, hut. Like, I would be like that, but he, of course, he doesn't have that kind of luxury, but that's neither here nor there. But let's continue.
Hey, independent.
But I need you.
Oh my God. Oh, this is horrible. Oh, this is horrible. Oh, this is horrible. She has this man by his. Woo! She has this man by his tenderloins. You don't need me, but I need you. Oh, God, this is horrible. How far we have failed. Oh, God. I want you to listen to it again.
ended.
But I need you.
Oh, I need you too, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Independent woman.
Yeah.
You can't make this shit up.
You really can't. You really can't make it up. That's why she wore the dress that she wore at that award show. It's because of that reason.
Listen, guys, in case you missed that conversation because it sounded like they're in a plane, I'm going to repeat exactly the conversation Sierra and her husband, Russell Wilson, just had. And I'll let you be the judge. We're going to be revisiting the logic of a modern woman. Some of you guys have been watching my content, similar content, for a while now. And people may ask, why do people still watch this shit over and over again when it's kind of the same things I say over and over again? Well, that's because men are in disbelief still. Right? I'm about to.
And he's right. Like I questioned myself all the time. I'm like, yo, am I really tripping right now? Am I really tripping right now? Like I be like wondering, like, am I really tripping right now? Am I like really overlooking something? Like right now, like what is what is happening? I question that, and yes, you're right. His ability was affected on the football field because if you don't have a good woman, then you only have like someone draining your energy. Whereas a woman is supposed to add. But yes, I'm telling you, I was like confused as heck. I'm like, yo, I'm like, man, is there something wrong with me right now? Like, am I really like, is there something going on with me right now? Like in terms, like I said, am I missing something? That's what I said. I was like, yo, is there something missing? That's why I was like, honestly, like, I'm like, man, uh, is there something that I am missing? Okay. I really wondered, was I missing something? Okay. And then, like, what happened was, like, I kid you not, this happened to me. I kid you not. I promise you. I promise you this happened to me. Okay. Because I was questioning it and I needed an answer. I needed an answer. A random stranger one day, he was random as hell. Random dude. He pulled me to the side. He pulled me to the side and he said, "Don't worry, bro. It's not you." He said it's not you. Cause he saw me walking, like just like he saw me walking and he could kind of tell there was like a lot on my mind. He could kind of tell there was a lot on my mind because I'm like, is it really that bad that you know we have to leave the country because of what this country is becoming? Like not just with the women. I was thinking about the overall like the overall situation in this country. And I was like kind of like walking and stuff like that. And a guy pulled me to the side. Like I was surprised. He pulled me to the side. He's like, "Don't worry, bro. It's not you." He said, "It's not you. You're just," he said, "You're Sigma. That's what it is." He's like, "You're not socially awkward. You're not crazy or anything like that. It's not you." And I was like surprised. I'm like, "Oh, like yo, he had like telekinesis or something." I'm like, "Wow." And so like that's why I was like, that just gave me the insurance that like, okay, yeah, I'm not tripping right now. There's no way in heck I'm tripping. And so you see this, right? And you're seeing it over and over again in different things. But let's continue.
To reaffirm to you that modern women's logic is completely down the toilet. Listen, men watch these videos because they sit there and be like, is this shit real? Is this real life? Unfortunately, it is. So this conversation that was had between Ciara and her husband stemmed from a song that was released about, I want to say like a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months. I don't remember exactly, but it was basically Ciara encouraging other women who are single, unlike her, to embrace being strong and independent and not needing a man. Yes, she was encouraging other women while living and being taken care of by a man who earns 3 times more than she does, maybe even a little bit more than that. I think his net worth is like 160 million.
And that's another thing that these women try to say. They say, "Oh, Ciara already had money when she came into the relationship with Russell Wilson." Yeah, she had recurring royalty money, but to be honest, people were cool off of Ciara, like for a long time. Like, you know, people were cool off of her. Like I've never heard anybody listen to a whole Ciara album in full. Like nobody's ever told me that, oh, I can listen to Ciara's album in full. Everybody just selects these songs, like just a couple of songs, you know. That's the thing. So let's continue.
And she's around like 30 million or something like that. And she's telling other women, you don't need a man. You can be independent. You can do it by yourself. And women lost their shit. And she's never been able to quite let it go. This is not the first time she's come back and brought up the fact that I can't believe you guys misunderstood, in her words, my empowering song for women. She's like, you can still be independent. And women were like, it's real comfortable to say that, Ciara, when you are married to a man like Russell Wilson, who pretty much takes care of your life, simps for you, takes care of kids that you produced with another man.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
But of course, that was some difficult coffee for Ciara to drink. Now, my bad, guys, went on a tangent there for a little bit. Let's go back to that conversation they had in that plane, because this is important, guys. You got to, this is real life. This is not entertainment here on these videos. There are women walking around with this logic. Let's revisit what she says. So she starts out by quoting a lyric from her song. And she says, smart girls get money. Smart girls don't need no man. And she's telling that to her husband. And Russell Wilson looks at her and says, you don't need me. And he says, you don't need me. And for a second there, I'm following. I'm like, okay, so she doesn't need you because she has her own money, has her own cars, etc. And then Russell Wilson says, but I need you. Does anyone understand why men don't want what Russell Wilson has in terms of the relationship? I mean, great career, amazing work ethic, talented man. But
well, that work ethic went down the drain because, like, if you have a good work ethic, if you have a good work ethic, right, you're not going to get traded from your team unless the team as a whole is just not going to do anything. You know what I mean? Like, so for example, like with Russell Wilson, he was out of Seattle Seahawks because of the simple fact that he wasn't producing. They were like, the heck with him. He's not producing. Versus a guy who, you know, he tries his hardest to produce and the team is just not like making it, not giving him the pieces to produce. So he's like, forget that. I got to go. I got to go to a team that's going to be like having my back, you know? So that's what it comes down to, you know? That's what it really comes down to. So with that being said, it's like with that being said, it's that's what happened with him, you know? This is what happened. He didn't produce. The team was there for him to produce, but he didn't produce.
But nobody respects his position in that relationship. Why? Because he's a simp. He's a simp. And there's no clear way of illustrating that. than this very example. Guys, this has nothing to do with men not liking Russell Wilson. There's women out here who think men hate Russell. No, there are plenty of men who are like, listen, I root for him when he's on the field, but the man's a simp in his relationship.
What the hell is that?
Link, back in the vehicle. Yes.
I want you guys to really think about this. The headline read, Ciara and Russell Wilson believe you can be married and still be independent. No, Ciara believes that. She does not need her man. If you asked her, she'd probably say, I wanted him. I didn't need him. But what does a simp say? He turns around and says, but I need you. I need you. And that's exactly what he said. And this right here is the disconnect between men and women when it comes to this topic. This is why women are out here praying Ciara's prayer. Modern women today want the best of both worlds. They want a man who's loyal, faithful, has unlimited access to women, resources, millions of dollars, and they want him to need her, treat her like a queen, put her on a pedestal while she goes around basically disrespecting him and saying things like, I'm still independent. I don't need my man, while he's sitting there saying he needs her. Come on, bro. Somebody make this make sense. I don't get it. I don't get it. Does it get any more clear than this? Does it get
Now, what I want to do is I want to fast forward to the comments, though, which you will see where women are going to defend the behavior of Ciara. I want to fast forward to the comments, because the thing is, the comment section is always going to be a telltale thing. But watch what the comments say. Watch. Hold on, let's see.
the demographic has now hit the wall and they want what she has? This first comment says, couldn't agree more. So they're actually agreeing with her. Never
Couldn't agree more. So you see that these women are agreeing with it. So you know if these women are agreeing with it, what are your chances of finding someone that is surrounded, basically? So let's continue.
lose sight of yourself just because you're married or in a relationship. See,
Never lose sight of yourself because you are married or you're in a relationship. Well, actually, what I have grown to understand is that a relationship was supposed to complete you. A relationship was supposed to like help you like discover new things about yourself. It was supposed to help you grow. But no, according to them, you're just losing you're just losing track of yourself, basically. That's what's happening, according to them. But let's continue.
this is the type of woman who's either divorced or the type of woman who's not married, right? Because that's the excuse a lot of women give when they're leaving the man is, I don't even know who I am anymore. Tough shit. That man's a life for a man who's taking care of his family. His family is his life. His identity is now take care of my family, commit. And you want it both ways. That's crazy. Another comment here says the women who have made proud wife their entire identity and personality don't like this comment. But it is true. She came into the relationship knowing who she is, having her own thing, and he was attracted to that.
No, he wasn't. It was just a matter of he saw a damsel in distress. He thought he can change a damsel in distress. Was probably attracted to how she looked more than anything else. And that's what happened. But he was not attracted to strong, independent, I can wear whatever I want to wear, even if it's embarrassing and emasculating you. I don't think he was attracted to that. Otherwise, he has issues.
After his first marriage, he specifically stated he wanted that. So listen, Russell Polby said that because he probably got terribly in the past. Because again, the simp behavior, putting a woman on a pedestal. But I want you to think about this. She's putting down women who proud wife becomes their identity. But notice how a man who takes joy in taking care and providing for his family will always be praised across the board, men and women, regardless of their view. Every person, every woman in specific thinks that a man should take pride in making important present father his identity. They'll never shoot you down and say, well, are you going out with your boys? Are you going on boys trips? But when a woman says, I want to make family my identity, my goal, I want to be a good wife, now you look at that woman and say, well, it's not all about men. It's not all about being a wife.
Yeah, you see, the hyenas come out the bushes, you know. And the thing is like I'm going to be honest. I don't want to like tell this story, but there was one Muslim woman who I know, you know what I mean, and she had kids and everything like that, but she was crying that she wasn't married. She was crying that she wasn't that she was not married, you know? And so I don't know what kind of thing it is, but uh, you know, it's crazy that these women, you know, feel a certain type of way. They feel like it's going to be all good, really. And you know, I hate to say it, but it's really not going to be all good, you know. It's just that's just the truth. But anyhow, um let me get into something else with these crazy comments again.
You guys get the disconnect here and the lack of logic. And if you're a guy who's not aware to this stuff, you will fall for this stuff hook, line, and sinker. Another comment here from another woman says, no lies were told. You shouldn't need a partner. Life is just a lot better with them. And
So she said you shouldn't need a partner. Life is just a lot better with them. So again, you know, these hyenas are just unbelievable.
the problem with these type of women, right, this comment is you still want to procreate. You don't need a partner, but you still want kids. Then you want to give birth to sons who grow up to terrorize society because they never had a father to teach them how to control.
Yeah, and the thing is about that is that they don't want the kids out of a moral reason. They want the kids for a financial reason. You know, that's the thing. That's the reason why they want the kids. It's about finances. It's not about it's not about like actually wanting kids, taking care of kids, and actually bringing those kids into the society to be uh like productive citizens. That's, you know, this is that therein is where the issue really lies. You know, that's the whole thing with this whole situation, you know. But let's continue.
Control their emotions and guide them and show them how to be a man. Another comment here reads, what? No, no, no. This is wrong on so many levels, this gentleman says. Why is Sierra seeking validation from the internet when it shouldn't matter? Sierra is a good dude, but he needs a backbone. Taking advantage of that man's kindness like it's cute. 42 likes. Another woman here says, I'd rather be wanted than needed. I don't want no man to be codependent on me. I think what a lot of people miss is what's needed is interdependence. Interdependence, learning to work with one another. But this chick said, like, I don't want to be needed by a man. But Russell just said that he needs Sierra. Now the comment here from somebody else says, independence is important to hold onto in life no matter what. Keep in mind, this chick's alone in her photo and probably
Arthur Princess Shields. Yeah, it's sad, bro.
will remain that way.
No, I'll have a tea actually.
Another comment here from another gentleman says, only our people believe this BS concept. There's nothing independent in a marriage when a man is leading properly. No, it's not only our people. You know, there's this
Yeah, I would disagree. Like when you look at it, like who imported this? Like who did other communities import this ideology from? That's the thing. So you can't just say, "Oh, it's just our people." You know, who did they import it from?
idea of people out here who think that other races aren't struggling with this in the West. Guys, this is a feminist problem. This is not a community problem. But is it heightened within the Black community? Yes, it is heightened. It's at a stronger degree. Another comment from another woman says, independence and marriage should not be in the same sentence. Two shall become one. This woman says, do y'all even understand fully what marriage is? 83 likes. Listen.
Well, one woman seems to have some sense, you know, but of course she's going to be called a pick me, and you know she's going to be called all kinds of names, but she seems to get it, you know. But only she gets it, you know, out of the women. So that's what I'm saying. Like even with that woman's comment, it goes to show you you would literally have to do some Where's Waldo to find a like to find what you're looking for, and it's like, yo, nobody got time for that. I'm just gonna be honest, like nobody really has time for that, bro. Like that's just what it is. You know, I certainly don't have times for that. So why wouldn't I go to a place where there's a abundance of that, and where it's going to be even at a more advantage to me because of the simple fact that I'm from that. That's what I'm saying. Like this is just my point.
As always, I'm very curious to know what you guys thought of this whole topic.
Salute to both. Thank you for stopping in. You know, I appreciate you stopping in. You know what I mean? Uh I you know, I appreciate you for like supporting and stuff like that. You know, this is a small platform. You know, obviously I have some unpopular truths, you know, but it is what it is. But let's look at another video to prove the point.
The sport body count matters to men for two reasons.
Okay, so you know, shout outs to this podcast because this guy, like, you know, with this guy, he actually like kind of like you know, he like he actually like has you know, he has a balanced approach and it's not too harsh. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't like just go out on like a rage or like on like a rampage. So shout outs to him. And the good news is he stays within his face. He stays within his space. You know, he stays within his space. He doesn't try to invade other people's spaces. Shout outs to him. Let me see if I can find the body count one. And you see that they roll in a pack together. You know what I mean? Like with these women, they roll in a pack together, which goes to show you, you know, again, you know a woman by the company she keeps, and it's the same thing for men. You know, if a man's surrounded by simps, or if a man is surrounded Like, for example, if men push this like black love envelope so much, like, you know what type of time he's on. And you know, I hate to say it, I'm not on that type of time. You know, I think unfortunately, for a lot of these men, they look too much into race. That's just my personal opinion. They look too much into race, and it's like, bro, like, yeah, it is. We're kind of. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but we're kind of past that already. Especially if other races of women are desiring not only companionship with you, but desiring to build a family with you. Saying things that, like, you know, we will make good kids together, basically. She's telling you that, hey, you've been selected. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Okay, now let's look at this. Let's look at this. Listen. Listen to this. Listen.
Just really quick to that, if my past predicted my future, why wouldn't I relapse? Like that doesn't make any sense. People can change. We're human beings.
People can change, but like the thing is, there are consequences with things that you did. For example, like, I'm just going to take the most basic example. If you commit a felony and you change and stuff like that, and you want to get into the workforce, and you're really serious about it, and you're really a reformed person, you kind of just added like a obstacle, basically, due to the simple fact that you have a felony, although you changed. So yeah. Now let's continue.
We have issues. My ex also sold drugs in his past, but does that make him like
My ex also sold drugs in his past. So that's who, and again, this just goes to show you what type of dudes they are attracted to. This just goes to show you what type of dudes they are attracted to. My ex sold drugs in the past. Shows you what they like. Shows you what they like. But let's continue.
like a bad person today? No, people make mistakes. So I don't know.
Are you referencing the fact that you have a high body count?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well,
that's just my
People can change, but because of your high body count and your previous sexual addiction,
Mhm.
that might be a reason or reasons why a man might want to disqualify you or preclude pursuing you
Right.
because of that.
And that's fine. That's their personal preference. But if you're going to use my past against me and say that, like, I can no longer emotionally connect with a man because I've done this, this, and this with however many people, that's just not true. I feel like when I look at a man that I'm in love with to this day, I still feel, I just personal experience, I just don't feel that way.
But the thing is that, I mean, sure, that could be the case, but I mean, there's studies on this. CDC did the study on this. I mean, the more premarital sexual partners you've had, the greater likelihood of infidelity, the greater likelihood of reporting relationship dissatisfaction, the greater.
And the thing is like, and Elder told me this too. A lot of these women are becoming more violent because of that. Because like what happens is that they put the pipe in, and they put so many pipes in that it gets to a point where they're like, well, what's next? They're like, well, what's next? And so when they want a real sincere guy, then it no longer can be done. it no longer can be done about it, you know. That's the whole issue with the with the with these women, man. For real. That's the issue. That becomes the issue. Well, let's continue.
Greater likelihood of divorce, greater likelihood of STD, greater likelihood of let's see what else. You have a more difficult time pair bonding. So
Right. So, but did they do that study with women that were consistently sleeping with multiple men, or did they do that study with women that like slept with like 50 dudes like 1 year and then they held off for like 2 years straight? Because I feel like the longer as time goes on, my body's kind of like reset itself. It's like I'm getting sober again. You know what I mean?
No, you're not, because if you were getting sober again, you would lose some weight. But that's another story in itself. We're not going to even get into that. But let's continue on.
finally seeing with like a clearer head and not having to sexualize everybody all the time. Because I sexualize women just as much as I did men. Like,
So basically, she's just a nympho, you know, and she couldn't get out of that. So, yeah, this is how it goes, man.
it was always a competition thing, right? Because I was trying to have sex. So, but regardless, you know what I mean?
well, I don't know if this is, and this just occurred to me, so I don't know if it's.
Well, you know, the good news about this guy is he stays calm about it. You know, he's pretty calm about his he's pretty calm about the things he does, and all his content is pretty original, which I can appreciate. You know what I mean? I can appreciate his content for being original, and I can also appreciate the fact that he has a balanced approach to this. You know, this is why, like for me, like if I really wanted to, I could sit through a full podcast with him if I really had like time to do so. But I can't. I'm sorry to say I can't sit through a whole one with Fresh and Fit, man. I'm sorry, I can't do it. It was the same thing with Just Pearly Things, man. I can't sit through one with Just Pearly Things, man. I never could sit through one with Just Pearly Things. But let's continue.
And if it's a perfect analogy, but you mentioned, well, what if,
Take Final Cut Pro to the next level with the ultimate bundle. Just $99 for every single Final Cut plugin we make in one huge bundle. Dynamic transitions, epic effects, pro templates.
how soon after the promiscuity, so to speak, did they do the study? I'm not sure on that, but this might not be an apt analogy. I think take cigarette smokers, for example. So if someone's just constantly smoking every single day, and then you do a study on their lungs or something, this might not even make sense. You do a study on their lungs and they just smoked a pack yesterday, maybe there's going to be something there. But then if they cease smoking, say for 2 years, I think there is some degree of regeneration that your lungs can undertake. However, your lungs will still be fucked up. There is some permanent damage there that's not going to be undone.
Yeah. And listen, again, I'm not looking for a high value man. You know what I mean? I would probably find somebody within my league, like somebody who's in recovery, somebody who knows how, even then, like some people still can't understand sex addiction. They don't even think it's a real thing, but like somebody who's in that field. So I think generally in life, people date within their leagues. I don't think men date down or anything like that. But.
Oh, wow. So she's in real denial now. The thing is, yes, men do date down because sometimes dating down means peace. And yes, women date up, of course. We know that. We know that women date up. We know. They try their best. They will never date on their level, or chances are it's very slow. There's a very slim chance that they will date on a lower level. So with that being said, we can kind of cut that out. Let's just be honest with ourselves. You can cut that out now. Well, let's continue.
Actually, well, I would say men do date.
I don't think
Date down.
Well, why are like models marrying with athletes, and like why are celebrities
Athletes,
marrying
wait.
celebrities? You
Wait.
know what I mean? Or
Oh,
models
okay.
marrying presidents, or you could say, that people date generally within their social class or league.
Well, I mean, there's generally speaking, I say men date across and down socioeconomic hierarchies. Women date across and up socioeconomic hierarchies.
I mean, I don't know.
I-
It's just my opinion.
Not only date, but men will sleep down. Most women won't sleep down.
Yeah, men will sleep down for sure, but I don't know. I just
Men
like,
date down too.
I don't think so. Are men date down?
Yeah.
No.
It's
So, what she doesn't know that if the woman, who is humble, kind, works at Big Five, and you're into tech and you are a software engineer, if she's bringing you peace, you're going to date her. But someone in the same field who is trying to compete with you, you're not going to date her. You're going to run away from her. More or less. Well, let's continue.
way harder for men to get women than the reverse.
Well,
So
I'll tell you, I've like flirted with guys that I know are out of my league, and they don't want anything to do with me.
yeah.
So they
Sure.
don't date down.
Well, it's not a guarantee that all men are going to, but I would say generally speaking, men will date down.
Are you talking about social class or attractiveness?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Men definitely date down social class.
Okay, you could
man
argue
who,
that.
A man who's a doctor, a man who's attorney will date a barista. A female attorney, a female doctor, she's probably not looking a barista's way.
That's correct. That is correct.
I don't know.
Attractiveness, that's a bit. I'd say men still date down on that realm, but that's a different.
Way, dude. No,
Yep.
come on, Brian. You can't be
Yep.
pulling my leg like that.
Well, here
I think they'll screw down. I think they'll screw what you know how many I've had like Instagram male models drive all the way up from LA to like my house to come get it on with me. But would he ever date?
But again, she's telling you that basically the CC is a hard thing to kick. That's in essence what she's telling you. She's telling you that the CC is a very hard thing to kick. With that being the situation. But let's continue.
Date me?
okay, that's a fair point. Yes,
Right.
A lot of men will sleep points down.
Mhm.
If you think of their equivalent attractiveness level, yeah, they'll sleep down for
Yeah.
sure. But you're right that in terms of getting commitment from that guy, no.
There you go. That was
Yeah.
my point.
No, so yes, you're right. Like,
Yeah.
but I would say, but here's the thing though, is women don't sleep down looks either, generally speaking. For I would say, and look, there's outliers. Some chick might be drunk and she hooks up
Well,
some
she will if
frog
she's
or
in
something.
a guy, right? Like if she has an
Okay,
Go
but yeah,
ahead.
so a guy can make up for it in other ways through status, money, and personality. So if charismatic, men can make up for their bad looks in other ways. Whereas I think women, even if you got a great personality, it's not gonna shift that much in terms of the kind of sexual pull or relationship pull that you can get from men. However, for a woman to sleep with a guy, he needs to be at least attractive enough for her to consider being in a relationship with him. When I say attractive, at least attractive enough, physically attractive enough.
Oh, yeah, I agree
He
there.
has to at least be physically attractive enough for her to consider being in a relationship with. Whereas for men, it's the opposite. Men will sleep with women in terms of their physical appearance that they would never consider being in a relationship with.
Right, but you said that
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Like there's some women who may just like be like just basic, and you still may knock them down, Like that's the thing. You still may like just decide, okay, I'm gonna knock this one down, right? Whereas you can be basic with a woman and she's probably not gonna knock you down.
That men date down as far as women's appearance. And I said
They still
that-
do. Because some men, like, men don't have a lot of options. So women sleep with who they want, men sleep with who they can. So, and a lot of guys in the
Well,
space,
sleep or date.
well, a lot of guys in this space say women control access to sex, men control access to relationship.
Right.
I disagree with that. Only the top tier men control access to relationships. Women still have the power in both of those because most men, like a lot of men, really struggle to get women, whether that's even to sleep with or, by the way, the computer's going to go black. Don't worry about it. Whether that's to sleep with or to get a relationship with.
Right.
So
Yeah, that is pretty true too. Like they did that study about the majority of men being single. Like they said that. So like, there is there's some validity to that. Because when you look at it, when you look at the situation we're in, the majority of women are sleeping with the minority of men. That's what we see happening,
But at the same time, like, sorry, I lost my train of thought.
it's all good.
Yeah, you can come back to me. Sorry. I was
Did you
really-
want to come in
feel
on
like,
something?
Yeah, I feel like that goes both ways. Like
What does?
speaking for all of us, like for example, like you're not gonna walk up to a not that pretty girl and talk to her
As a guy,
as a guy. Yeah.
have you heard of 2 a.m.? I mean,
I
but like,
yeah.
no, I mean, well,
But like relationship wise, okay. Hookup wise, maybe yeah. But relationship wise, you're not going to like be at a bar and walk up to an ugly girl trying to be in a relationship with her. You're gonna walk up to the prettiest girl that you see in the bar, going for girls too. You're gonna walk up to the most
So the thing is, you probably won't be even looking in a bar though for a relationship. Like if you're a guy who has some discernment, you're not even going to the bar to look for a relationship. You're not even going there to look for a relationship in the first place. So, that point is kind of invalid.
attractive guy you see in the bar. Like everything
actually-
first, initially, I believe is based off appearance.
I would actually disagree. Like when you say the guys go up to the most attractive girl, I actually think it's kind of more like the average, maybe like above average girls that actually get the most attention because most guys see like the really, really, really hot girl. And some guys actually might be like, I got no chance.
Well, I
so they're
guess-
actually the girls who are like 7s and 6s. And like, bro, those are the girls that are putting up numbers for sure.
Yeah. Well, I guess just like what's attractive to you, like as a person.
Yeah, but I
would say,
mean,
like-
I think, and actually, I think women can make up for it, their looks in some ways, and that's by being feminine, submissive. Like if a girl like can bring you peace, I think most men would sacrifice on the looks front if she brings you peace. She's feminine, she's submissive.
Yep. I can attest to that. I will attest to that I will sacrifice that for, listen, I'll take a cool 7 who brings me peace than take a 10 that brings me hell. I'll tell you that. I'll take a cool 7 that brings me like peace and things like that, then take a 10 that brings me hell. 100% agree.
So I think a lot of men would like I think you ask most men, would you rather have like a chick who's a 9, who's a smoke show, who's an absolute babe, but she's and just,
I think that goes
just like
for women,
masculine
too.
and uncooperative and all this stuff and promiscuous. That's the other thing. If men will, how do I word this? If you have a low body count, or if you're a virgin or you have a low body count, men will that can bump you up in terms of your attractiveness to a guy.
I think that goes both ways though. With women, like women
for
want
Low body
a
counts.
guy who, I mean, it's better than having a high body count for sure.
Well, I think some women do have that position. Like some women obviously don't want a guy who's promiscuous. However, a lot of women, and I think this is a bit more of a tame panel, but a lot of women will say, I don't care about body count. Body count doesn't matter, blah, blah, blah. Like it's not a thing to them. And because men and women kind of value different things, I do think it's 100% something that some women do care about. However, I think it comes down to experience, and women value experience.
Can't
Thank you, man.
You shut down Keely Rose. I know this is not specifically her episode / podcast, but she gives a lot.
Hold on. Now, there's another one that about body count where she. Oh, here it is. I think this is it. Hold on. Let me see.
Cash show, and it happens to come up.
Totally,
Yes,
I understand.
I will continue to talk about body count because women continue to come on the show and seem to have, if I ask them if there's one thing that they quarrel with in terms of men's preferences, they're like, why do guys judge body count? And I'll continue to have the conversations. The chat wants to talk about it, so I'll continue to talk about it. But I mean,
and another thing about that is if you are promiscuous, not only can we smell it a mile away, I think I read that earlier, but we know you're not only promiscuous for us and with us.
look, here's another reason why body count matters. If a girl's kind of sleeping around
to the next girl, and they have to move on in order to find that.
Hold on, let me see this video because there was one video where a woman actually. There was a woman who actually there was a woman. Oh my God, over 9,000. Yo.
And this might come off as a bit crass. It might come off as a bit crass, but the thought of sleeping with a girl who's simultaneously sleeping with another guy, to me, is just disgusting. The thought of having sex with a girl,
I can agree with
and
that.
but
Not
that's how people
disgusting,
move.
But I could agree.
Like that's how people move.
Right.
Like people are hooking up with like multiple people at the same
Oh,
time.
absolutely. The hookup culture that right now is insane. Like,
Yeah.
100%.
Look, I think you should be free to do whatever you want. I'm not trying to like control anybody, but just
And see, there's his balanced approach. Like, and that's what I think too. Like, you know, me, like I'm the same way. Yo, like do whatever you want, but just don't expect me to feel sorry for you once the smoke clears. Like I'm gonna be like, well, you know, you brought that on yourself. Like, so I'm not going to feel sorry for you. But let's continue.
just for me personally, like if I was about to have sex with a girl and then she fucked a guy like 3 hours before, like to me that's
that'd be gross too. If
It's
I was about to suck a
disgusting.
guy's dick and there's already another on it, that'd be gross as fuck.
Right,
too.
and I'm sure girls might feel the
I
same
have
way.
grossest stories
Of course.
ever.
Shh,
You want to hear?
Don't.
Okay, let's hear it. No, let's hear it. Go ahead.
Okay. Do you guys really want to hear? Actually, it might like disgust you. But
Yeah,
like,
go for it. Why
everyone
not?
on here, you don't want to hear about period blood, leave.
Oh, okay.
Meg.
So you fucked a guy on your period? Is
No,
that
it's
the
not
one?
that. It's just like I've had two guys out on my period in the same day and they didn't know and they said they couldn't taste anything. I thought it was funny as fuck.
Oh my God. Oh God. Oh God. Keep in mind that when they do that, they're putting spells on you too. Please, guys, stop it. But again, good men are for good women. Good women are for good men. Vile women are for vile men. And you see the vile women she's surrounded with. So please, guys, just really, man. But let's continue.
Same day. Yeah, on the same
Wait,
day.
two guys ate you out on the same day and you were on your period?
Yeah.
Yeah. At different times.
At
right?
different houses.
Yes,
at different times.
At different
At
times.
different times.
Keyword there. At different.
Okay.
times.
No, I just went to one house and then this guy was just like, I'm your boyfriend. I was just trying to get over my ex then. And then I did that. That didn't work. And I don't usually hook up with people. I just like did it for fun because I was on my period and horny. It's a funny story though. Cause like, why could you say you couldn't taste that? Like, you can taste blood, like, sweetie. Like, it doesn't taste just
Stop
like
it.
nothing.
Get some help.
Yeah, that's what that Michael Jordan said it best. Stop it. Get some help.
Okay.
You asked for it.
You
I
asked
tried
for
to
it.
warn
I
you.
told you
don't want to hear about it, but you asked for
I
it.
tried to warn you.
I did ask. Okay, so you saw two guys in a 24-hour period.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen or like hooked up with more than two guys in a 24-hour period?
And just two guys in the same room, but like I just jump bed to bed, but I never have threesomes.
You see how they think it's funny? Like these things are funny? You see how they like think like this is like funny, and it's not even funny, it's just gross.
Wait, it was like a frat house or some shit?
No, I just had like three guys over and just like made out with two different ones and pretend to like both of them and manipulate both of them at the same time.
Wait, you had three guys over at your house?
At my hotel in
At your-
Atlanta.
at your
And I'm not
hotel
friends
in
with them
Atlanta?
anymore. Yeah.
Because of the foursome, the surprise
No, I
foursome?
just made out with two different guys and didn't do anything else.
Oh,
just
made out.
Just kissed bed to bed and just talked and hung out. It wasn't weird or anything.
Was it like a luxury suite?
No, it was just for fun. I just like to play with guys' minds and like be like, "Oh my god, you're so hot. I'm so into you, but I'm not into you." It's like
What?
fun.
But they want you, and so when you look at this, like when you see this and stuff like that, you realize that this woman is evil. You know what I mean? Like, so with that being said, you have to kind of like ask yourself, okay, like, what type of guys is she attracting? And hopefully no good guys fall for the trap. You know what I mean? Hopefully no good guys fall for this.
And it was you guys in the hotel room.
Yeah, it was just like one guy on this bed with another guy, and then one guy on this bed trying to like make money with me, and I was like, no, and he was like trying to
awkward.
And then like I just jumped bed to bed and they didn't care. It was just funny. I just did it like for fun. I was on vacation. I only just do stuff fun on vacation. So hit me up if you're in California.
Oh my god.
I know.
Okay.
I know I'm a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So.
But like trust me, I'm entertaining. That's what I'm here for. The
Oh
entertainment.
yes, it's been interesting. So okay, so who were these dudes?
They were just like people I was like friends with.
One
I
was a
known on, like
TikToker.
for a long time. Yeah, some people are just like TikTokers or just people I met on YouTube or like something like that. Just like my internet friends.
There's a vlog
Okay.
about it.
Yeah, there's a vlog about it on YouTube if you want to watch.
There's a vlog.
Yeah, there's like a whole entire like vlog of them meeting us.
So what's the title? Getting spit roasted in an
No,
Atlanta
meeting
hotel.
OnlyFans models. Meeting OnlyFans models.
Oh, meeting OnlyFans. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, and you
So
were,
they came to
okay.
Florida and drove.
So one thing I want to say too is that when you look at the advent of OnlyFans, what you'll notice is that they run in packs. Like these OnlyFans models are in packs. You never see like just a regular woman with who's like not an OnlyFans model. They're running in packs, okay? You never rarely see just an OnlyFans model by herself. They're usually in packs, That's the thing. But let's continue.
$7 hours.
Oh,
to
so they
come
were
see me.
fans?
Yeah, they were fans. So
Oh.
I just did that.
Oh, so
for
you
fun.
did meet with a fan.
They're not like fans that pay me though.
Oh.
There's difference.
Like
they're like
Instagram
friends.
followers.
Like they're not like
Okay.
fans. They just did it for their
Sure.
stuff to like get more
Okay.
followers.
Okay, so 3 guys just made out though.
Two guys. You got it
Oh.
wrong. It's two guys. One guy just sitting there, and I was just like, why can I not just like suck your finger or just like grab their fingers and start like sucking it for fun? Just like because it's funny. I'm like,
hmm
I just think it's funny.
Did they wash their hands first at least?
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, you were there?
No.
Oh, okay.
I honestly,
hoping she says yes.
I honestly don't know. I was just high, so that's why I didn't.
Oh God.
Okay.
Oh
Sanitizer
God,
pump?
bro.
There you go.
Oh
There you go.
man, it just
Okay.
gets
Sanitization.
So, for the rest of the panel
it
here,
just gets worse and worse. It gets worse and worse with them. Let me see. Look, I think there was someone actually with the 300 body count. Let's see.
TTS.
I have a very big body count and I'm very happy. And I'm in
What's
stable romantic arrangements.
What's the body count?
Probably like 300 something.
Oh shit! Oh my god! If this is what they want you to choose from, this is what they try to guilt trip you to choose from. Oh man. Oh. I hate to say it. I really, man, Allah forgive me what I'm about to say, but even Muslim women have bought into this nonsense. In the majority of Muslim women have bought into this nonsense in this country, which is why they're unmarried. They're unmarried. You can't marry them. I hate to say it, but there is actually an uptick in. There's actually an uptick in Muslim women marrying or so-called like having so-called marriages with non-Muslim men because these men are simps and they're the only ones that are going to accept this kind of craziness. She said 300.
Okay. And you said, okay, 300.
Shout outs to the host for being calm because I don't know if I could be that calm. You know, shout outs to this guy, bro, because if it were me, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can stay that calm. I probably could stay that calm, but you know, like just that, yeah, but let's continue. Let's see what happens.
What about you guys?
Mine's at like 50.
Oh God.
50. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm also at 50.
Oh
50.
God.
Kiko, body count?
Men and women, or
Let's separate them. What are the two?
men, I'm pretty sure I'm at 5, or sorry, men at 7, women at 5.
Stop the cap.
Yep.
I
Not what you said last time.
Yeah, times that by 3. Times that number by 3. So like she said with men, she's at like 5, so that would be 15. And then with women, she says she's at 7, so that would be 21. 15 plus 21 would be which we'll call it. That would be 37. So she's at yeah, I believe so. 15 plus 20. No, let me do the numbers in my head. Actually, I thought too quick. 15 plus 21 30. Let me see. Hold on. Let me do the math. She said 15. So yeah, we're timesing it by 3. So 15 and 21. So yeah, that would be 36. Yeah, that would be 36. Yeah.
You know what's crazy? Is and it actually is what I said last time.
Oh, you lied last time.
And I lied in not favor for me. So I said,
Yeah, so she, this just goes to show you she's lying about her body count. She's lying about her body count right now. You know what I mean? Like she said she lied the last time about her body count. So she's lying this time about her body count. And you see how all of these women pretty much have the footprint of adult film actresses in the way they look. You can just, like, honestly, if you see them on the street, you would be like, okay, they are for the streets. If you were just to like walk and just see them on the street, you would be like, yeah, they're for the streets. You would definitely say that, basically. But let's continue on.
a number because I was like, I'm pretty sure it's around.
just scoot into the table.
Wait, what did
one
you
more.
say last time?
12.
Oh, Jesus, Kiki.
12. What did I do?
Hold on.
That's,
All
the,
right,
that's the
whatever.
total of 5 and 7, though, right?
Yes, and
That's
then
5 and 7 combined.
Yes, but I've slept with one more person or two. I've slept with 2 more people since then. I said 12 because I was pretty sure it was around.
So yeah, 12 times 3 is 36. So she's probably slept with 36, 37 people. That's the number of her body count. 30 around 36 to 37.
Around 12, like the last time I counted, but it was actually at 10. So I literally, I guess, made myself sound a little worse than it was. Yeah.
Stop the cap.
All right, so 12, you said? 12.
Yes.
Okay.
Total.
Okay, so 12, 50, 50, 300.
20.
20.
Times 20 by 3. So 20 by 3 is going to be 60. So she slept with 60 guys. She's slept with 60.
We're going to say
Yeah.
6.
Okay, so 18. So she has 18 of them. Yes, 18.
Okay.
8.
That is going to be 24. She slept with 24 men.
All right. Okay.
Hell no, Brian.
Okay.
He's like, all right, okay. I like this guy. I like how casual he is. But yeah, if I had to choose between the podcasts, I would definitely choose this one over some darn fresh and fit fake alpha crap. You know.
All right. Okay. How did we get to the body count thing? You said that you're.
I asked.
Oh, you asked. Okay.
Oh, the viewer
The
commented.
TTS. So you wanted to come in before that TTS came through.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's interesting that this is all coming from a standpoint that most men are not having sex, right?
Yep.
And these are typically the men that are demonizing the women that are having sex.
Well, it's not about not having sex. It's just about like what happens when you walk that slippery slope and like you get into something that you didn't want to get into because of their promiscuity. And from a religious perspective, Ibn al-Arabi, rahmatullah alayhi, the sex is spiritual, and if you do it so often with people that you don't have like a connection with on that kind of like higher level, then you're pretty much like a donkey. That's the whole situation, and so with that being said, this is why we have the stance we have, or at least I have the stance I have. That's the reason why. But let's continue and listen to what she says.
Do you think if the role was reversed, if men could have sex with anybody that they wanted, that it would be as much of an issue as it is when they see women obviously having sex with whoever they feel like?
I think that there is a level of resentment that some men do have when they don't have access to women, to where they're upset that we have so much access to men. Like if I wanted to have a new guy every night, I could. But like sexlessness is also impacting women.
So what I want to say is that this woman right here, although married and stuff, she's still a chameleon, because like with her, it's just, you know what I mean? Like you were in the army and God knows what you were doing in the army. I've heard stories about the army with women where women are concerned. But let's continue.
It's just a little bit different. So sexlessness right now, my generation, millennials and Gen Z, we're considered the most sexless generation at this point in time.
Yeah.
Right. But they correlate it to the emergence of smartphones. So it's happening to both of us. It's just happening to men more. Whereas men can't get sex. I think women can't get relationships from the guys that they like. It's my opinion. So this is not a fact. It's my opinion that if women are like, I can't get that guy, then like, I'm just not going to sleep with anybody, because they'd rather have him than not. Does that make sense? So I think that's where female sexlessness comes in, is that we are the choosier.
They rather not have him per se, but they rather have his resources.
Sex too. Like, you ever heard the joke from men that nobody's ugly after 2 a.m.?
Yeah.
Yeah, they mean that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so we just talked about body count. Let's touch on body count a little quick, real quick. So, should body count matter? Just yes or no? And let's start with Kiko.
Should body count matter?
Yes.
She has a pretty deep voice too. Like, you know, I kind of question if, like, you know, you know, I don't want to say this, but I don't know if she's like maybe a transvestite or something like that, you know. I don't know.
I think it plays a factor in the sense of people, like, if you have a high body count, you should probably stick with people around your body count. So, like, you know, people who are sticking around 3 bodies should find another mate around that part, and somebody who has more should probably find somebody who has more bodies. Because personally, yeah, I don't see it usually working out with somebody who has a very low body count.
For you?
No, not even me personally, no. But like from my friends and situations I've seen, when it tries to be like one person is more promiscuous and has a higher body count and their partner doesn't, usually I see problems happening. But if they're both on the same even playing field, then I don't see it usually being an issue.
I mean, I think men certainly prefer women with low body counts.
Yes, but from what I've seen, it's not men prefer women with low body counts. It's men prefer women with body counts lower than their own.
They're sort of the same in a sense.
No, they're
to
not,
a
because
degree.
yeah, a low body count would be, you know, what a retrospect, you wouldn't consider maybe 20 a low body count, right? But to a man who's had 200 bodies, that would be considered a low body count. But to a man who's only had 10 partners, 20 would seem insane.
That's fair. That's fair. Should body count matter?
No, I don't think it matters. I've never really had a guy ask me like, "What's your body count?" and like be like, from it. So
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think in my line of work, I wouldn't really entertain anyone that would be opposed to it. So for me personally, no. But if somebody cares, then date someone who's within the bracket that you want.
So I want you guys to also understand, and I've reiterated this point before, that it's not just America. It's also in the UK. It's also in Canada. It's also in Western Europe as a general rule. Okay. So just understand that, you know what I mean? Like, it's not enough to get out of the West or out of America. You pretty much have to just get out of the West in general as a whole. That's what needs to happen, you know.
Yeah, I personally don't think it matters. Nobody has ever asked me that either, you know, before or after I've been in this line of work. But I do think it informs.
But again, you see how these women hang together, though. That's what I'm saying. You see how these women hang together, but then on the other side is a married woman who I think is expecting a kid. So you kind of see the polar opposite, you know. But let's continue.
Forms something about the person. Like I think if I know how many people somebody has slept with, then I can learn something about them, but that doesn't make it negative.
I also think like no too. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I say no as well, and I agree with what.
So, you know, you see that none of these women for example, have a sense of their, like, a mind of their own. You know, you notice that these women don't have a mind of their own. They just, you know, they just basically follow each other's lead. You see this, right? Well, let's continue.
You said about how, like, I think you should kind of stick with the same number area, just because I've definitely been in a position where mine was not close to someone else's, and I kind of felt like another check. But if I was closer, then I'd be like, oh, okay, I was doing
Mhm.
the same thing.
Oh, the guy had a high body count, and you just felt like another chick.
Yeah.
Okay, so you think body count does matter then, insofar
just-
that you should try to match up with someone that's close to you.
Yeah, I think you guys should just like have to relate. But if, yeah, if it's like someone is high and then someone else is close to that, I think that like it doesn't matter the number.
Holy shit!
Sentience
Yo,
Super
Zentians,
Chatty,
thank you, man.
$300. Men who are walking.
It's from 1950.
Yeah, I think Zentians is actually a time traveler. Yo, Zentians, putrescence between their legs. What did it?
Between their legs. Happening. Men.
Yo,
Super
Zentians,
Chatty,
thank you, man.
$300. Men who are walking away aren't just incels. Not arguing semantics. Those men are the men who support your infrastructure. Your narrow-minded / short-sightedness is maddening. Men leaving the dating market will yield nothing but lonely women who have nothing but a font of putrescence between their legs.
A font of putrescence between their legs. What did putrescence? I've not heard that word before.
Did you comment this from 1950?
Yeah, I think Zentians is actually a time traveler. Yo, Zentians, thank you for that big $300 super chat, man. Appreciate it. That was big, man. Thank you for the continued support show after the show. Yeah, he's a time traveler. He jumps around. He's also a brain surgeon, actually, in
crazy.
actuality. Yeah, so he's wealthy. He's, in addition to being a time traveler, he's quite wealthy.
Yeah, not only is he
Yeah.
traveling time, but he has enough money to throw $300 on a stream.
Yeah, Chad. Okay.
for him.
So the thing is, you already noticed that she's already thinking about the money. You know, she's not even thinking about what he just said about the fact that, you know, like you're basically like a cesspool. You know, you're basically like beyond repair. She wasn't thinking about that, but what she was thinking about was the money. You know, she was thinking about the money. But let's continue.
So I think you were finishing up your point, correct?
Yeah, not that the number matters, just that like I think you don't have to be, but I think personally I would be more comfortable being in the same area as someone else.
Okay.
Number-wise.
What about you?
I don't think it really matters. I feel like it depends on.
Oh.
your-
N. Martin Super Chatty.
Yo, Martin, thank you, man.
It's the height of narcissism and delusion to believe that you can defeat or disavow biology. Biology always wins. To attempt to rewrite the rules is a wasted life. Pfizer, American Psychiatric Association, and local wineries thank you for your ongoing and future patronage.
Okay, Martin shooting shots. Do you guys?
So, and that's true. You know, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. But to finance my travels, that I'm saving my money, cat food has been a very, very big like come up for me. You know, I keep it business. You know, I really keep it business. But cat and dog food, you can sell that on Amazon like crazy. It sells like hotcakes. Like you can actually purchase the cat and dog food and sell it in bundles. And guess who's buying it? Guess who's buying it? Guess who's buying it? For every for every like 20 women who buy it, you'll probably get like maybe one guy, two guys who are buying it. So this, they try to think they can defeat these things, but you can't defeat natural law that Allah has set on this earth.
You guys have a response to Martin?
That didn't really make any sense.
No, and I think it's
Yeah.
insane that these guys that are throwing hundreds of dollars on a stream about having sex with women, like, what the fuck are you? Why?
And then here's another thing too. Guys that they call Dusty, we have Skrilla. We just don't announce it. We just don't announce that we have Skrilla. But hey, if we like what you're doing and we support what you're doing, we're going to throw you that bag. Okay? We're not going to do it for OnlyFans models, though. Only guys who don't listen to these kind of things are going to do it for OnlyFans models for the most part. But let's continue.
You spending your time spending hundreds of dollars telling us that we're whores? Like, why not go out and sleep with a woman and bag a wife if that's your whole goal?
No, they can't.
Yeah.
No, whoa. I will not stand. These all.
Well, when she said, well, they can't, that's where the chameleon comes out, because it's like we can. It's just that we will not settle. That's what it comes down to. But let's continue.
All these gentlemen in the chat, they're all Chads, they're
Yeah.
brain surgeons,
I
they're
love them too.
astronauts, they're architects, they're Mike Davis. I've seen him in the chat. That fucker's got like 100 Burger King restaurants. That mother.
Yeah. The thing is, the guys that they call Dusty and Lane, I know a longshoreman right now. He's a millionaire. He bought apartments with his longshoreman earnings. I know another guy who's into painting. I know another guy who's a jewelry maker. So the guys that they're calling Dusty and this and that, usually most of these guys have it together. Most of the time, the guys who are checking out, the ones who are checking out usually have it together. Okay? The ones who are staying behind are the Pookie and Ray Ray's archetype.
He's a proprietor.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
he's smashed. Trust me, this guy, Mike Davis, you're going to see him
Uh-huh.
later. He's been dropping 50s.
Treating schizophrenia without a daily pill may seem impossible.
All right. Now let me see if I can find this. Yeah, this may have to be a stream in itself. This may have to be a stream in itself, basically. Because Ibn Arabi, he, a lot of things about him, don't get it twisted. He was a faqih. He was a faqih. Don't get it twisted, but the stuff that he did and the stuff that he wrote about would go over a lot of people's heads. So I'm gonna leave that for another time, but let's see if we can find it. There was one guy, and I'll probably end on this note, because you see the body count argument, right? And you see how nonchalant these women treat that argument, but it's way more serious than that, bro. Let me see if I can find this. Hold on. And this is a good brother, by the way. Very good brother. Very practical teaching brother. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Let's see. Okay. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. All right, let me see. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go over this.
Recordings just got better. Hey, it's Dana from StreamYard. I'm so excited to announce that.
One, because intimacy, you could say, has this spirituality and sexuality have always been interconnected.
So, the thing is, and I don't even pay attention to these bogus old pagan holidays that they have, basically. But I wasn't even aware that Easter was tomorrow. I wasn't even aware. I just found out right now that they're celebrating that bogus holiday Easter. I just found out right now. But as this beloved said, spirituality and sexuality are interconnected, and with the modern woman, of course she doesn't know that. She doesn't know that, because if she did, she would guard it better. But that's neither here nor there. But let's go over this.
Why is that the case? One, because intimacy, you could say, has this ecstatic or blissful, euphoric feeling. But something that's more intrinsic and more important is the fact that intimacy creates new life. And creating a person is miraculous. This is why all cultures, all religions, all civilizations have always required a religious ceremony to permit intercourse, hence marriage.
No matter what civilization you look at, be it let's just take Black Panther, even if that's a fake civilization, they still had to do the marriage thing. Let's just say when you look at pagan African tribes, there was always a ceremony for marriage. Of course, Christianity, of course, Islam, of course, all the faiths, even Buddhism, even if that paganistic 200 million gods in Hinduism, they still had to basically do a religious ceremony for marriage.
The Western world seems to have always struggled with this relationship between spirituality and sexuality, going from one extreme to the next. We know that Catholics taught that a married couple should only be intimate for reproduction only, and calling this a necessary sin, while priests would basically offer a sexual sacrifice by remaining celibate in order to attain spiritual heights. This is something that Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran when Allah said, وَرَهْبَانِيَةً ابْتَدَعُوهَا مَا كَتَبْنَاهَا عَلَيْهِمْ. Allah says, and this is monasticism, which they innovated, they invented. This is something.
So yeah, if you make a choice to be celibate, like a celibate choice, because you don't want to risk, the risk outweighs the reward of being with these women, then we get it. if your intention is to be with other women, be with more traditional women, marry the woman, I get that. But if you're just like cool off of women in general, then that's kind of dangerous. That's where it becomes dangerous, because like with me, I'm I'm cool off of the Western women. Yeah, I have nothing to do with them. I don't want anything to do with them. But when it comes to just women in general, of course I still want women, just not women from this society, just not women from here.
Something they invented in the religion, and we did not prescribe it for them. So that experiment of trying to sacrifice one's sexuality for the sake of spirituality, it seems to have failed when it came to light that priests were abusing children. Then in the 1960s, there were advancements in contraception. The pill came out, as everybody knows. This ushered in the sexual revolution, and for the first time, intimacy was completely separate from childbearing, and thus intimacy was treated like any other fun physical act that is devoid of spirituality.
Now, keep in mind, though, a lot of times when they take these birth control pills, this is why they like effeminate men, because birth control actually makes them, I want to say, it actually makes them like men with more feminine features. But let's continue on.
Like two people playing sports. It has nothing to do with spirituality. That experiment failed as well. The idea that you can remove the spiritual element from one's sexual activities, it just failed. Why? Because intimacy does have spiritual significance even if no children are conceived. How do we know this experiment failed? Because the pendulum has now swung to a different extreme. Today, sexual identity is the new religion. It's not part of a religion. The whole religion is sexual identity. What are its philosophical roots? For those of you who are more interested from this philosophical perspective, Jean-Jacques Rousseau was the one who taught this idea that your feelings are the roots of morality. Not your morality isn't rooted in God, your morality is rooted in your feelings. And then Sigmund Freud, he taught the idea that
so unfortunately, that's why you see these women doing what they're doing. That's why you see Brittany Renner saying, I feel like I make a mistake. I feel like I made a mistake, but I feel like that I have whatchamacallit to how should I say it? I still have a lot to offer, because she was going off of feeling. She wasn't going off of what's spiritually correct. It was just based off of feeling. So that's why you see these women say, oh, I feel this, I feel that, I feel this, that, and the other. And so this is why, you know what I mean? Like this is why we're in the plight that we're at, because they go off of feelings. They don't go off of spirituality,
that all of your feelings are rooted in your sexuality. So if you take Rousseau and if you take Freud, put them together, what do you get? You get the idea that your sexuality is your morality. It is your religion. Anyway, those are the philosophical roots. I'm sure many of us might not be interested in that. Us, we're dealing with what? On the ground. What is the effect of this? I'm sure many of you have experienced this. Trying to suggest that a gay person should repel their sexual desires for the sake of God. What is the response that you get? Often you get outrage. How dare you? As if you suggested blasphemy.
Yeah. It happened to me on Instagram a couple of hours ago. I was saying that, we're not playing that in Africa. One Alphabet Soup character said, so you're going against science because you guys are so barbaric. That's how they responded. This is what you have to deal with a lot of the time.
Tell me that I should, push back and repel my sexual desires. How dare you suggest such a thing? Why is it like blasphemy to many of these people? Well, because desires are their new deity. That is the new God, as Allah Ta'ala says.
And don't let it fool you. These women, these women, the reason why they're so promiscuous is because they like it more than men. I'm going to be honest with you. That's why they're acting the way they're acting, is for the simple fact that they actually are just like, it's not even at this point. At this point, like, what do I want to say? They are just thirsty, bro. It's just that they're hyperactual as of right now, because they've been allowed to be that. But let's continue.
Have you seen the one who has taken his desires as his God? When you take your desires as your God, even the suggestion that you would suppress it for the sake of Allah Ta'ala, this becomes blasphemous in their eyes.
And that's what you see about women. Like, you tell women to keep their legs closed. You tell women to stop like having babies with you tell them to stop having babies that they don't want, and you get pushback. You get pushback. That's what happens most of the time.
But not only is sexuality and sexual identity and all these things, not only is this the new religion, it's quickly becoming a very intolerant religion as well. For instance, we know as a Muslim, I can say, and I do say, that the Quran is the word of Allah. And I'll try to convince others to read the Quran, and perhaps they'll be convinced that it's the word of Allah as well.
At this point, and the crazy thing is that, tomorrow is Easter. And I guarantee you that churches are not going to be full. I guarantee you that if people work tomorrow, whatever the work that they do tomorrow, they're gonna still go to work. They're not gonna call out for no church. At this point, like, I'm just gonna be honest. Christianity is a dead system. Christianity is a dead thing going on, But let's continue.
As well. What I cannot say is, I believe the Quran is Allah's word, and you must say it too. I can't do that. La ikraha fi din. There is no compulsion in religion. I can't compel people and force others to believe that. However, it seems that nowadays, if there is a man that says he's a woman, and we might ask him, do you have any evidence? Do you have a book? Do you have some sort of persuasive argument? Can you convince me? The response seems to be what? I say that I am a woman, and you must call me by my female pronouns, and if you do not, then you are evil. SubhanAllah, this just switched from just a faith to now a very intolerant faith. SubhanAllah, we know that historically, it was in the name of compassion that the colonizers came to forcefully civilize us barbaric Muslims. And now that colonization seems to be continuing in a new form of forceful civilizing in the name of compassion once again, of course. It just seems to be the same thing in different packaging, SubhanAllah. What does this all mean? Well, it could be the case that this obsession with sexuality and sexual identity is a sign of the moral degradation of our society. It could also be that this is a way of distracting us from the constantly growing wealth gap in this country. Keep the peasants divided so they don't revolt type of thinking. That could be the case. Keep them busy with, what are you? Do you identify as this, that? Just keep them busy arguing about these things so they don't pay attention to how the economy is getting worse and all these different other problems. Or maybe it's the case that this is just a way to monetarily capitalize off of the vulnerable, the confused, the young. What a coincidence that it's all of a sudden very trendy, very popular, and extremely profitable to question your sexual identity. There's lots of money behind this. And maybe it's all three. Maybe it's the moral degradation of society. It's also a divide and conquer tactic, and as well as the exploitation of the vulnerable. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam bis-sawab. Allah knows best. Regardless, I think we need to spend a little bit of time a little bit of time, maybe a little less time spending just focusing on them, but now looking in the mirror and asking ourselves, what are we going to do in face of all this, in light of all this? Are we shy about our Islam? SubhanAllah, you look at this movement, this LGBTQ movement that is very recent, by the way. Just a few years ago, these letters, these words were never even heard of. Now, everywhere you look, it's there. These groups were once considered deviants, and now they are celebrated. Do we ever take a moment to appreciate how much of a hustle it must have been? How much dedication, blood, sweat, and tears must have went into promoting and pushing for the normalization of this movement? Do you ever contrast that to how easy it would be for us to normalize our Islam, to talk about our Islam? I mean, this is a movement that is rooted, that originally was seen as people that are just complete deviants, or something that was considered taboo to even talk about. Islam doesn't have that problem. Islam, alhamdulillah, it's soon to be the biggest religion in the world. It has a 1400-year-long history rooted in the oneness of God, rooted in prayer and fasting and charity. So what are we shy about? Why is it that we can't promote ourselves and get ourselves seen and in public and known and talked about in a positive light in just a few short years the way they have? Think about it from this perspective. Think about it with regards to the workplace. Most companies are now complying with this new religion. They have to put up rainbow flags and they have to support it. We know that Disney.
We know that these soccer jerseys have to do it. We know that we know that you know, in basketball they have to do it. You know, yeah, bro. The thing is, that's where we're at, you know.
Disney's supposed to make entertainment for who? For young and impressionable children. That's their job. They're supposed to be motivated by just making money. And yet they're so committed to this new religion that they're willing to create a controversy. They're willing to create protests and boycotts and loss of employment, loss of money, just to keep promoting their religion at work, despite the fact that their job isn't preaching. Their job is what? Entertainment. I want you to take that fact and now contrast it with the Muslims. How many times have you heard a Muslim say, look, I'm open to talk about religion, but not at work. I would never bring up Islam in the workplace. It's not appropriate to impose my faith at work. Isn't that our attitude? Let's be honest. Most Muslims, we feel like, no, we can't talk. But why? What are you so afraid of? They're not afraid. We have a greater history, longer history, more impressive history, bigger numbers, population. We have a convincing truth, the book, the Sunnah of the Prophet. Everything about us should give us more and more confidence to want to talk about it out in the streets, in our homes, at work. And yet, subhanAllah, these people are not afraid at all. Are they more brave? Take a second away from recognizing, yes, okay, what they're doing is haram, what they're promoting is wrong. It's fi sabil shaitan, it's in the path of evil, fine. And what we do, we're trying to promote fi sabilillah. But at the end of the day, a hustle is a hustle. Whether they're hustling, whether they're striving for good or for evil, you can always take a step back and appreciate that, look, they've done a lot of work in a very few short amount of years. Look at how much work, how much progress they've done in the workforce, in their appearance. Brothers and sisters, ask yourself a simple question. Have you seen these people dressing in drag or cross-dressing, proudly promoting their beliefs? And then take a second to now look in the mirror and ask yourself, do I try to keep my beard as thin as possible, as short as possible? Do I shave? Think about that. Are our sisters...
And you know, it's sad to say it, but like, you know, like, I hate to say it, but you know, the liberal Muslim will like conform to this, and they will decide that, okay, like let me shave and do this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? And it's just like not a good look, you know. But they do it anyway. They say, you know what, let me just go ahead and do it. Even though it will make me look like a goofball, you know, this, that, and the other, basically. That's usually what happens, unfortunately.
Sisters taking off the hijab, are they afraid to promote their deen? Are we less brave than them? Or do they have more guts, more confidence? SubhanAllah, something to think about. What about in terms of spending? Think about the cost. Just a few days ago, I teach a class in the jail to the Muslim brothers, all these converts who have embraced Islam. Alhamdulillah, they're telling me that they have a cellmate who is a man, but he spent $5,000 on the chest, $3,000 on the backside, a few $1,000s on the lips. I don't know how many $1,000s of a hormone injection. This stuff is profitable. This is big.
Wow, I didn't even know that they were doing it in jail, though. That's the crazy thing. That's the crazy thing that they're doing it in jail. You know.
Business, brothers and sisters. And then just take a second to ask yourself, do I spend that much on the masjid? Simple question, right? If they're more willing to promote themselves at work, in public, if they're more willing to dress, even if it's controversial, even if they get bad looks, even if people are judgmental towards them, I don't care. I will promote my faith, my belief. Even if they don't have evidence, we have the best evidence. What are we shy about? We don't want to demonstrate our Islam. Our sisters don't want to wear the hijab. These people are more.
Well, I hate to say it, they don't. The average Muslim woman, and even if they do want to wear the hijab, it's just like, the sad thing is the hijab has become so much of a fashion statement that it doesn't really have any significance anymore. In terms of like the modesty statement, it's so much of a fashion statement. Heck, you may see non-Muslims wearing hijabs now, believe it or not.
Brave than us? Maybe that's the case. Are they willing to spend more than us? What about pain? What about physical pain? Parents nowadays are pumping their kids full of this ideology, making them question their gender before they even know what gender is. Imagine the poor kid hasn't even experienced what it's like to be either a boy or a girl. They haven't even gone through puberty yet.
Yeah, and then they're trying to teach now that there's 160 genders, unfortunately. They're trying to teach that there's 160 of them.
Yet. They haven't even figured out what these desires are yet, and they're already being pumped with this ideology, trying to impress their parents, saying, you know what, I think maybe I identify as this or that. And mom and dad, in some cases, are more than willing to spend whatever it'll cost and put the kid through all kinds of surgery. How much pain they're willing to sacrifice for a mastectomy, which is cutting off the breasts, penectomy, which is removal of the penis, orchiectomy, which is removal of the testicles, phalloplasty, which is reconstructing, taking.
So the thing is, why would you even want to go through all of this? But this is what's happening. Now, on the flip side of the flip side, women, they may not go through all of this stuff, but what happens is that they're essentially just becoming men, deep voices, becoming more hairy and things like that. But most of them are going to do the procedures, but this is what's happening.
The body parts and trying to construct a fake penis. I apologize. Hysterectomy, which is removal of the womb. Kids celebrating this stuff online. Oh, look at me, I just removed my uterus, I took out my womb, all these things. Think about the level of sacrifice. Willing for the sake of what? Fi sabil shaitan, as shaitan promised Allah Ta'ala. Shaitan, he promised Allah Ta'ala, وَلَآمُرَنَّهُمْ لَيُغَيِّرُنَّ خَلْقَ اللَّهِ. and I will certainly command them so that they will, without a doubt, change the creation of Allah. This is Shaitan's objective. You're not good enough the way you are. The way Allah made you, there's a problem with it. Keep fixing it, and trust me, there's always going to be somebody there to say, and I can do it as long as you, I can do it for you as long as you pay enough. SubhanAllah. There's always somebody there to profit off of it monetarily. Contrast that. All this scarring, all this cutting, all this spending, contrast that with Khalid bin Walid radiallahu ta'ala anhu, who said what? On his deathbed, famously, he said, مَا فِي بَدَنِي موضع شبر إلا وفيه ضربة أو طعنة أو رمية. When Khalid bin Walid was passing away, he said, there isn't a single mark, there isn't a handspan, there isn't the distance of a handspan on my body, except that there is a strike or a stab or a piercing, because I've spent my life in battle. Fi sabilillah. The believers, there once was a time where they were willing to spend, willing to promote, willing to look the look, willing to talk the talk, willing to, even if it comes down to fighting, I'm willing to sacrifice my body. And it seems that this group, they have that. MashaAllah. Fi sabil shaitan, of course, unfortunately. But it seems that they have that willingness. Where's our willingness? To speak the truth, to promote it, even if it gets awkward, even if it costs money, even if it costs blood. Are you willing? Where are your scars? Where are my scars? Do we have any? I'm not promoting and saying, oh, go out and fight some random person. I'm not saying that. I'm just asking, where is that motivation? Where is that?
Well, this is what this channel is for, is to speak the truth, is to show what's going on, is to show how backwards this society really is. You know? That's the thing.
That willingness, subhanAllah. Instead of wondering the common question, how many of our youth are secretly supporting this religion, this LGBTQ movement? How many of our youth are secretly, they're okay with this? Why don't we ask the other question? Why don't we start talking to these different people that are promoting this lifestyle and say, well, how many of these gay rights activists are secretly considering Islam? Why don't we ask that question? Isn't that a good question? I've spoken to the people at my work, people that are my neighbors. I spoke to them, and now I'm getting to them. I'm making them doubt and ask themselves, maybe these Muslims are right. Instead of us always being on the receiving end, on the passive, why aren't we the active? Instead of asking, how much are they affecting us? Why aren't we asking, how much are we affecting them?
Because the machine, like, I get your point, bro, but the machine is too big at this point. And so God even said, like, you know what I mean? Like, even at the beginning of Islam, when it wasn't strong, what did they have to do? They had to leave. They had to leave. They had to go to Abyssinia because it simply wasn't strong enough. It was too much opposition. And that's the same thing here. It's just way too much opposition. That's the issue. It's too much opposition that we're going through. It's just too much. There's too big of a machine against us, so we have to leave.
Where's the izzah? Where's the honor? Where's the strength? SubhanAllah, to really make this hit home. Just recently, some mothers came up to me in this community, complaining that their kids are being invited by their classmates to show support at the Gay Pride Parade. And they were saying, the kids were saying, can we go? We want to participate. And they were like, what are you going to do? May God protect all of us from this. Can you talk about this, please? How can you address this? So I thought about it. How can I address this? Well, I have a question for the fathers. Very simple question for all the fathers. When this new masjid was built, did you invite your coworkers to this masjid and say, I really want you to see our new facility. I'd really appreciate it if you were to come and show support to the Muslim community. Did you do that to your coworkers, to the people at work, to your neighbors? Did we do this? If not, who is more brave? If they're willing at work and at school to go up to the Muslims and say, will you come and show support? But we're not willing to go to them and say, will you come and show support? Then don't ask me why we're losing. Don't ask me why we're on the back foot. It's right in front of you. You need to look in the mirror if you want to know where the problem is. Look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I willing to represent my beliefs with my appearance as much as they're willing to represent their beliefs with their appearance? Am I willing to promote my beliefs even if it makes other people uncomfortable? Am I willing to do so the way they are? Am I willing to spend whatever it costs the way it seems they're willing to spend no matter what it costs? Am I willing to physically suffer and have my body injured for my beliefs the way these people are clearly?
So, and that's the thing about me, like, as crazy as it sounds, in order for it to be the truth to be revealed, I'm willing to die behind it. That's the thing. I'm willing to die behind it. No matter how many hyenas, no matter how many simps, no matter how many people come, opposing it, the message will not stop, The message will not stop. I will not stop this message,
able and willing to suffer for their beliefs? If the answer is no, then brothers and sisters, we don't need to figure out what the problem is. Look right in the mirror. You found the problem. It's me, it's you, it's all of us. They say in a fight, it's the one who's willing to die who's going to win. You ever heard this expression before? It's not necessarily the most skilled one. It's the one who's just willing to go the distance. The one who's.
But you do have to be skilled, though. I'll say that. Skills pay the bills. Don't let it fool you.
Willing to push the most. So yes, we may have the truth, but if we're not willing to promote it, what difference is it going to make? Inshallah ta'ala, I'll continue in the second khutbah. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam kathira. Bismillah walhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about how he instructed Lut alayhi salam. فَأَسْرِ بِأَهْلِكَ بِقِطْعٍ مِّنَ اللَّيْلِ وَلَا يَلْتَفِتْ مِنْكُمْ أَحَدٌ إِلَّا إِمْرَأَتَكَ. Allah Ta'ala instructed Lut alayhi salam, saying what? So set out with your family. This is when the adab, the punishment, was going to come down upon Qawm Lut. What happened? Allah Ta'ala said to Lut alayhi salam, you and your family get out during the portion of the night. Secretly, get out of this city. And don't let any of you turn back. Iltifat. Don't turn back. Don't even look back. None of you, except who? The wife. His wife turned back. In the biblical story, it talks about how the wife of Lot, she turned back and she turned into a pillar of salt. Allahu A'lam. The point is that she was included in the punishment. What does this imply? What is the lesson that we learn from this? Was she physically with them? No, she left with her family. Was she practicing what they practiced? Was she doing their deeds? No. She wasn't engaged in that type of behavior. But the fact is that even though she was with the believers leaving that city, she turned back. And therefore she was included in the punishment. What is the lesson here? What are we learning? It's the same statement as Allah Ta'ala, the Prophet says, Al-mar'u ma'a man ahab. A person is with who he loves.
So that's why you have to be by yourself. And I know this, and I'm not saying this in an arrogant way, but you have to learn how to love yourself enough to disengage in the craziness that is going on right now that you just saw in the last video. This woman straight out admitted that her body count was 300. Okay? She said 300. So this is why you have to learn to love yourself, because of what the brother just said. A person is going to be with who he loves. So please don't love dating coaches. Please don't love simps. Please love those who kind of like set the bar before and who were stand-up guys. There's a couple of them, but the ones that we know of, most of them are deceased.
All of us will be raised up with who we love, even if you don't participate in a certain type of behavior. If your heart is attached to that group, if you are supporting them just within your heart, and you care, and you have this love for something that is wrong and evil and haram, then that's who you're with. This is what Allah Ta'ala tells us. We cannot be shy about this. We cannot be afraid to speak what the Quran clearly says. And I apologize, this might be a bit controversial, but I don't think it's a coincidence that it was the woman. I don't. I think that women, unfortunately, they are susceptible to this type of language. Why?
Of course they are. You look at OnlyFans with women. Let's be honest. If a man opens an OnlyFans account, like, there's a slim possibility that people are going to actually support that. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's really checking for men on OnlyFans. And OnlyFans wasn't originally meant for adult content. But what happened is that women decided that it was supposed to be for adult content. And that's when the revenue came in.
Because it's all about love. Love is love. Love conquers all. You know, all this emotional language, I really feel it does appeal more to our young sisters. Even though, yes, our young brothers are susceptible to this type of language, I do think that we need to be very cautious and very careful. Our young sisters are very susceptible. Why? Because it's coming at the emotional angle, right? So it appeals more. And so I don't think it's a coincidence that it was specifically the wife, that she was the one who had to look back. Her heart was attached.
And that's pretty heavy, bro. About Lut alayhi salam. Yeah, notice that it was the wife, and then also notice it was Hawa that disobeyed Allah. You know what I mean? Because Allah put it in these women to be the way that they are right now, you know. But you did still have virtuous women. You know, there were virtuous women, but you notice that some of the big mishaps were done by women.
Yes, I know I'm supposed to go forward. The command of Allah is to go forward. But love is love. I mean, those people, you know, they're so sweet. And subhanAllah. This is extremely dangerous. We as believers, we cannot be weak on this issue. Now, of course, I'm not saying be harsh to people that are struggling. Of course, there are people that struggle with GID, which is gender identity disorder, right? There are Muslims amongst us that struggle with SSA, which is same-sex attraction. These people are mujahideen. They're struggling fi sabilillah. They're struggling against something that is haram, and we should support them and show them as much love as possible. I'm not saying be harsh against these people. What I'm talking about is enabling and supporting the whole movement. When you do that, you are trying to say what? That you're more merciful than Allah? No, I'm sorry, you're not more merciful than Allah. Allah Ta'ala is the most merciful, and He's telling you this is bad for you. This is bad for you. This is not good for you. This is not good for society. So don't pretend that you're more merciful than Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. It doesn't work that way. If that's like saying, oh, I'm more, I'm supporting this person in something that is destructive for them, but that's out of love. That's not out of love. That's a false notion of love. That's enmity disguised and draped in love, but it's not true love.
And so that's one thing that you have to realize is that the sisterhood will say that, oh yeah, you know what, we're supporting her. You know, we're supporting Brittany Renner and things like that, supporting Karen Steffens, saying that they're so intelligent and this, that, and the other. And it's like, bro, what are you guys doing? You're not helping them, you're hurting them.
Allah Ta'ala makes this very clear. It's amazing to me, subhanAllah, how beautiful the Quran is in order. And how you have Surah Al-Kafirun, where Allah Ta'ala commands us, قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ, where you're supposed to declare and say with firmness that, oh, you disbelievers, I don't worship what you worship, you don't worship what I worship. You're supposed to be very explicit and clear. And then what's the surah right after that? إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحِ. What is the lesson there? Why is it that the very next surah is Allah saying what? That when the victory of Islam, when the victory of Allah comes. Why is that the case? Maybe there's a lesson we need to learn. That it's only when you stand firmly for your beliefs and you don't give this wishy-washy, tepid, soft-served type of weak Islam, only when you are strong enough to say, this is our beliefs, this is what we believe this is right, we believe this is wrong, and we do not compromise. Only once you are very clear about your beliefs, then you will see the victory of Allah come. That's when you see the believers stand strong. This is a message that not only should we be promoting amongst ourselves as Muslims, we should also be talking even to the Christians about this. In fact, one of my favorite Bible verses, I always find it quite funny. It's in Revelation 3:16. Jesus is supposed to be speaking to, this is a statement from Jesus. He says what? But since you are lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, I spit you out of my mouth. That's quite a funny quote. What does it mean? The idea is that the munafiq, the hypocrite, is the type of person who doesn't pick a side. If these people are winning, I go with them. If these people are winning, I go with them. I'm always kind of lukewarm. I'm always back and forth. Look, if you're going to be good, be good. If you're going to be bad, be bad. Pick a side. And even in the Bible, we should remind our Christian neighbors that even the Bible says what? That Jesus is sick and tired of people like this. Lukewarm positions, half-stepping, I don't know, I'm kind of with them depending on the tide. Whatever the social, wherever society is going, I just follow along. No, you're neither hot nor cold, so I spit you out of my mouth. This is a beautiful statement that we should remind them and say, don't be a munafiq. Don't be a hypocrite half-stepping. Pick a side.
And that's what happens. It's like, oh, they'll say, oh, yeah, and this happens with Muslim sisters. Oh, yeah, I want to be married, but I still want to be able to be boss babe, or, oh, I want to be able to, why can't we have, oh, yeah, polygamy is cool and all, but, what about us having multiple husbands or something like that? Like just these far, like off the wall, like things.
And so we as believers, yes, we have to be clear about our position. And we have to, I say, before we even deal with, there's many different ways that this issue can be addressed, but the main thing that I want to focus on today, inshallah ta'ala, is compare your willingness to appear, to speak about, to spend on, to sacrifice for, to feel pain for, your beliefs compared to theirs. And if yours is weaker, then that answers the question why we are struggling with this movement that's been with us this entire month. So may Allah Ta'ala make us of those who stand up for our deen. May Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala make us of those who have izzah and honor. May Allah Ta'ala remove the nifaq from our hearts. May Allah Ta'ala make us recognize that this deen is something that deserves promotion and no apologies. May Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala make us of those who can stand firm for what we believe and speak the truth in all circumstances. May Allah Ta'ala rid us of weakness and fear of the creation and fill our hearts with the fear of the Creator. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen.
So I think the promotion will happen when we leave, when we're leaving to like more traditional societies. That's where the promotion will occur. But until then, as of right now, we're kind of like, the only way we can promote it is through our actions and through our behavior. And sometimes people are not going to see your actions and your behavior because you've abstained from dealing with people, as I have. As I said before, I am in monk mode until I leave this country. I will leave the country, but until then, I will be in monk mode, and I will deal with people sparingly. And I'm definitely not dealing with Keisha or any of these women, especially where there's a possibility that their body count may be at 300 or something of that nature. So with that being said, I will stop now. I've been on for about 2 hours and 30 minutes. Leave a like. Think about subscribing to the channel if you choose, and I will be off until the next one. Fula signing out. And again, SYSMB, save yourself, Muslim brother. And off until the next one. Inshallah.